I love baseball cards. Got 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em.
Now, moving on to this next one, this was kind of a package deal. This was another vendor there, and this individual is supposed to get a hold of me. I told them about my YouTube channel, and I told him I'd give him a little self-promotion if he got a hold of me, but while I'm filming this, at the moment, he has not done that. So, first I'm going to get the autographs out of the way, then I'm going to talk about the next items, which are super, super cool if you're an NBA or NFL fan. Some people think that they're stupid, some people think that they're awesome. I personally think they're pretty darn cool, and you guys can share your opinions as well. But to get the autographs out of the way first, this guy had these on his table, and I don't know if you know much about these Nabisco cards from the early 90s, but this time they had the certificate authenticities with them, and very rarely do you get these with the card. I've purchased both of these, and that's Jim Catfish Hunter and Hall of Famer Phil Niekro. Both are Hall of Famers, but back in the early 90s, or mid-90s, some of the older collectors may remember this, that Nabisco products, which were, you know, your Oreo cookies, your Chips Ahoy, whatever, that really good healthy food that you should eat as a kid, right? They had a promotion that if you sent in like $3.95 with like 3 UPCs from the Oreo cookie boxes or bags or whatever, you could select one autograph for $4 plus 3 UPCs. And I want to say they did a couple years of these. They did a series 1 and they did a series 2. I didn't do too much research before shooting this video, so I'm doing this strictly by memory, so I apologize. But the first year, they had 4 or 5 guys in the set, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to go through my Hall of Fame box and look. But I think I have them all now. I know I already have the Hunter. I'm not positive on the Niekro, but I remember somebody asked me if I'd sell them or trade for my Hunter. Well, now that I have a second one, I might be open to offers for similar quality certified autographs of Hall of Famers. So if you're watching this and you're interested in the Hunter, you know, shoot me a message. We might be able to work something out, only because I have 2 of these now. I have to verify that, so if I come back to you and say I'm sorry, I only have that one, deal's off. But going back to the Nabisco cards, the hardest card to find in this set is the Don Drysdale. And I don't know the backstory on this. Maybe somebody that worked at Nabisco could give me better insight. But Don Drysdale, the Los Angeles Dodger, was part of the set. And from my understanding, he didn't get all of the cards signed because he passed away. So I don't know how many were signed. You know, maybe Phil Niekro could tell you, but because he's still alive. But I don't know if they signed 1,000 or if they signed 500 or 10,000. I don't know. But Drysdale didn't sign all the cards, so people were sending in the redemptions for Drysdale, and they couldn't fulfill them. So they had to supplement with somebody else or whatever, give them a second option. So there's not a whole lot of Don Drysdale ones of these, you know, in circulation. And from my understanding, aside from cut signatures, that type of thing, this is the only Don Drysdale certified autograph ever. Okay, aside again from, you know, that type of thing. So if you see the Don Drysdale out of this white bordered Nabisco set, buy it. That's my recommendation. And if you're into getting, you know, your things certified through PSA, Beckett or whatever, get it certified PSA, because that card, in my opinion, is only going to go up in value. I was lucky enough to find the Don Drysdale out of the set for like $10. I was at some flea market somewhere and some guy didn't know what he had and he said $10. And I said, sold. I knew exactly what I bought when I bought it. So to get these off the screen, this was part of a package deal, so I'm just going to pull these to the side and I'm going to go on my tangent on the next item. Now these are very, very, very different, to say the least. And these are some PSA graded items. And I know some people really enjoy PSA and graded items, but I came to meet an individual, and this is, I apologize if you're watching this video, the person I bought these from, if I get the story incorrect. So I'm just going to say that. But this person came across a stack of these. He told me that he has in the upwards of 3,000 of these graded PSA proof cards. And if you look really closely, I'm going to try my best to give you the rundown on these without it getting too blurry. But these are corporate archives for Fleer, meaning these are one of one. Okay, these were sent in from, you know, to Fleer or whatever, different types of product. And if you look closely, these are lacking the jersey pieces. You know, like there would be a Tim Duncan and a Tony Parker jersey right there. Well, the proofs don't have the jersey piece in them because they're simply a proof. Okay, so to summarize, these are true one of ones. There is no other cards like these proofs out there. Okay, now the person that sold these to me said, you know, there might be a red version, there might be a green version, you know, whatever, you know, parallel versions of these. But every single one of these is a true one of one. Now, the story behind this is, and to go back, this is a Tony Parker and a Tim Duncan. This is an Andre Kirilenko and a Paul Gasol. I've made comments on some of your pages. I like the Spurs, so now you understand why I have these. But I have a couple more off camera here that I'm going to share with you as well. But a person that used to work for Fleer had these out of the vault, or whatever you want to call it, when the business basically went under. And they were able to buy these for pennies on the dollar, I guess. I don't know. Well, this individual met this third party and got a heck of a deal on them, you know, like 3,000 to 5,000 of them. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of these PSA cards right here. Now, I met the person at the Battlefield Mall card show, and I told him how I liked the Spurs and Tim Duncan and, you know, on down the list. And we went through, and I think I bought a couple Tim Duncans from him. And I specifically remember I bought a couple Yao Ming proofs, which I thought, you know, Yao Ming, Hall of Famer, can't go wrong there. And I took them home. Well, fast forward about a year, I hadn't seen this individual. You know, he doesn't come to every show there. So I'm hoping he comes to future shows, and maybe that interview I talked about, maybe you'll see him and he can show you the whole stack that he has for sale. But I bought a few from him then, and then this most recent show he was back again. I said, "Hey man, long time no see." And he said, "Yeah, I got more of these." I'm like, "You got more?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is just," you know, he had maybe like 50 of these on his table, give or take. He said, "Yeah, this is just like 50 or 100 of these. I've got like 2,900 more of these back at my house." I'm like, "Holy crap." So I went through, and he helped me find some Spurs out of there. You know, Gasol isn't a Spur on the thing, but he's a Spur now. And I told him, "Hey, I'll make a deal with you." I said, I told him about the Remember the Great Sports, you know, YouTube channel. And I said, "I will give you a free plug on my channel. And if I have people that are my friends that want these proofs from you, I will connect you up, man. I will, you know, if you, you know, for example, if you like Tracy McGrady, if you like Vince Carter, if you like, you know, Hall of Fame players from this era, this 2003, 2002, 2004 era, Dirk Nowitzki. But if you like players of that ilk, this person can hook you up." I do not have their contact information. Again, if he gets it to me before I post this video, I will post it down at the bottom. Hopefully he sees this video and it reminds him, "Oh man, I forgot to send this guy an email," because this is a very busy person that has these. But we talked about maybe meeting up and buying some more, you know, at a McDonald's or something. But to share with you those two, then I have a couple more proofs here. And this is a Jason Richardson / Tony Parker. You know, J. Rich wasn't, you know, a big deal, but this is a very young Tony Parker. And I have another Paul Gasol. Who is that? Jamal Tinsley. You know, again, Jamal Tinsley's not a household name, but being a Spurs fan, I wanted both of these, and you can see where the jersey card is supposed to go, basically on there. And it's a 1-on-1, like I said, proof. You can't get these anywhere else. I mean, you may be able to get the completed jersey, but this card in particular, and every one of these, is PSA authenticated. So, with that said, for all of the proofs that I showed you, and the 2 autographs, he sold them to me for $30. $30 for those proofs and those autographs. So, again, I promised, he gave me a heck of a deal. He may not sell them to you that cheap. But me and him have known each other for a few years now, and I told him I would give him free advertising. I know he sells them on eBay. You might be able to find a few of these on eBay, but I don't know if that's the person selling them, because somebody might have bought them from him and they're trying to resell them or whatever. So, with that being said, I know this video is getting really long, but I'm very proud of some of these things that I bought and giving you the history behind them. These are 2 cards that are not in the best of shape. They're vintage, but I saw them and I'm like, I have to have those. And the individual I bought these from gave me one heck of a deal, and I'll tell you after I show both of them to you how much I paid for the pair. And I put these in the top loader that they're in, but this first one is a 1963 Topps batting leaders card. And Tommy Davis, who led the league that year in batting, and as you can see, there's some stain marks on it, and you know, it's not the best looking card, but it's not the worst looking card either. But Tommy Davis led the league in hitting that year, and also on this card is Frank Robinson, Stan Musial, Hank Aaron, and Bill White, which I mentioned earlier with the rookie card. Ironically, the guy that won the batting title is probably the worst player out of the group. That's the ironic part out of this. But this card, when I saw it sitting on his table, you know, he's very particular about his condition. He said the reason that it's this price is because of the condition. And I said, you know what? I don't care about condition. I like the fact that it's in my collection. So, that's the first one. Now, when I show you this one, your jaw's going to drop, at least if you're a vintage collector. This was also on the table. And that is Frank Robinson's 1957 Topps rookie card. Again, this card is in horrible shape. I mean, this is like, if you could have a -1 grade, this is probably the card that it would be a -1. I mean, it's got a hole punch through the corner. There's tape on the edges. The back has tape on it. I mean, if you were defining a grade, 1 would be the grade. If you could go negative, it would be the grade. But I again put this in this holder. It was just sitting in a, you know, binder or whatever in a sleeve. I had this holder at home, put it in there, but I was like, I have to have that. I said, you know, for the price that he's asking, how often do you get a Frank Robinson rookie card for that price? I said, I know it looks like crap. I know it's horrible. You know, I spent probably, this is the same vendor that I bought the twin set from, so I already spent $3 there, but I bought another, the dollar cards that I showed you were also from this vendor, but I bought another $40 worth of vintage cards for TTMs, you know, various guys from various years ranging from the 50s to the 70s. So because I bought all those cards, I said, well, you know, what can you give me the Robinson and the, you know, the Musial, you know, the batting leaders card. He said, well, you know, I wanted 10 on the Robinson. Yeah, $10 is all that he wanted on the Robinson. And I wanted 7 on the batting leaders card. He's like, I'll tell you what, I'll sell them to you for $14. You know, I'll knock a few bucks off of each one. And I'm like, so $7 a piece? He's like, well, however you want to look at it. But yeah, $7 a piece. So I paid $7 each for these. I mean, where else can you get a Frank Robinson rookie card at a card show? I mean, fine, maybe you'll find a estate sale where grandma will have one in a shoebox for $7. And again, this is a 1. I get it, it's a 1, but it's a Frank Robinson rookie card. I mean, holy moly. So, I close with, thank you. I know this is a long video. I apologize. I get long-winded sometimes, but you know, you can always fast forward to the meat and potatoes of the video, so to speak, when I reveal the cards. But the reason that I share my stories with you is, 1, hopefully you enjoy them, and 2, I try to educate, you know, the younger generation about card shows and etiquette and things like that. And in closing, you know, going to card shows is something that is going to the wayside. You know, it's like a landline phone or something in your house. I mean, it's just not the cool way to get your cards anymore. But I can tell you that the devoted ones that are the dealers or the devoted collectors or whatever, you know, the people that put on the card shows like Coach Estes, you know, there are deals to be had if you're looking for a particular player. You know, if your favorite player was Frank Robinson, you know, you can find that stuff out there. You know, I've seen the hobby change so much, and some of the older collectors can probably agree with me that the pendulum swings back and forth. You know, I've seen personally right now that I think the most popular things are vintage, of course. You know, vintage always is going to maintain its value or go up in value, in my opinion. But right now, it's about the jersey cards or the booklet cards. I'm sure, you know, some of you, you know, have shared those on your YouTube videos. You know, to get the serial numbered Mike Trout 1 of 25 booklet, autographed, you know, yada yada. That's kind of where the market's at now. And if you're a collector of certain vintage items, you know, the vintage cards kind of take the back door to, you know, the newer, shinier, nicer Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, et cetera, type of cards. So, with that being said, I want to wrap up this video. And again, put the plug in there for my good friend Ron and his card shows. You know, if you have a chance to see his card shows or go to any of the card shows, you know, in the area, you know, again, he does them in Missouri, Kentucky, and Indiana. He has done them in Illinois in the past, but it doesn't look like this year he's going to. He lives in the St. Louis area. So, you know, the 3-day show in St. Louis, from what I understand, is a pretty darn good show. I've never been to it. It's, well, let me rephrase. I used to go to shows there, and Ron has more or less brought them back. I used to live in the St. Louis area and go to them, but being that I don't live up there, I don't get up there too often anymore. So I go to see him in other places, you know, around the state. So in closing, I hope you enjoyed my rambles. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my card show pickups. Put your comments below. You know, if you enjoy a video like this, I'll be more than happy to share more stuff, you know, like that I pick up while I'm out and about. You know, to me, going to not just card shows, but flea markets, swap meets, you know, on down the list, it's the thrill of the hunt. You know, what you can find. You know, there's far and few, but sometimes there's auctions that are out there, you know, estate sale auctions, that type of thing. But commonly you don't see too much at those. You see a lot of that, you know, 90s, you know, junk wax era stuff at a lot of the estate sales now. And, you know, how much of that do you need? I have a garage full of it. So, you know, every now and then you run across some nice stuff. But again, you know, guys like Coach Estes are what keeps this hobby going. And we hope to, you know, bring the youth back into this hobby, just like when I was a 10-year-old kid or 11-year-old kid or a 15-year-old, however. You know, I used to have my mom and dad drive me to card shows and drop me off. I mean, that was when there was a card show every weekend in the St. Louis area. You know, they'd drive me to one and they'd go to the mall or go shopping. My dad would come in with me, but, you know, my mom wasn't too big on card shows, but she of course financed them. So those are some great memories that I have. Even with my wife, when I was in my early 20s, when we were still in college, I started dragging her to card shows, and you know, she she gives me a little trouble about that nowadays because I still drag her to card shows 15 years later or whatever. But here we are, and again, I hope you enjoy this video, and I know it's long, but I think it was worth it. Thanks.